What's up? This your boy JG back with another video on music tips and reviews with JG. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please press the subscribe button so you be updated on all my latest content. Again, I always appreciate your support throughout my YouTube journey. I strive to give the best content, and I have Cash App $JGillsVA. Also, if you have a comment on what you've heard on this live premiere, please put your comment, put your thumbs up. If you like the content that you hear, super chat. If you have a comment and you want to support, please do that as well. It's available. And so this question has been coming up. I've seen a lot of fellow YouTube music producers and songwriters and different YouTube channels I watch. They've been bringing up this conversation again. The difference between a producer and a beat maker. And so I really want to give my views on it. There's a lot of different views about this certain topic. Are you a producer or are you a beat maker? And so I want to talk about this topic very briefly. My analysis of this conversation. And earlier when I started producing, when I started getting into music and creating music, the program FL Studio was getting buzz. This program, people can just make beats from their bedroom. They can just construct great beats. Of course, Pro Tools has always been the industry standard as far as recording and producing. Logic, Reason, they've become big DAWs in the field. And so going back to FL Studio, when FL Studio came out, I think it was a thing where if you use FL Studio, you're not a high quality producer. That's what I felt. That's what I felt the view was towards people that used it. And then people like Soulja Boy and Ninth Wonder and all these people, they really made Lex Luger. Shout out Lex Luger. He's from VA as well. They made Fruity Loops, FL Studio, a big DAW, a competitive competition with Logic and all those DAWs. And so now the question has come up since the people wanted these DAWs and stuff, is are you a beat maker or are you a producer? That's what I feel. Since those like FL Studio came out and you can make music from your home and you can just send it off to an email or to a particular artist, or you just a beat maker because you're doing that and you're not in the studio with them creating the music. But it's a different day and time now. A lot of producers, even big producers, they just send off songs and the person records to it. I know many of big producers, they not exactly in the room, but they I feel a music producer is also somebody who creates the music, who arranges the music. A lot of these hip hop producers that's just making beats, they are arranging the music. So why can't they be called music producers if they're producing the music? And we gotta think about those things. I think we get too far-fetched with these titles, beat maker and producer. But to me, I feel like they are the same thing. But it's a tricky thing though. I think it's based on each individual song. because I may get hired from a record label to produce an artist. And so if I grab a person who's good at drums, and I grab a person who plays well, they may arrange the music, they may produce the music, but who did they hire? They hired me as the producer. And so I pulled this person to play the keys. He produced, in a way he did produce, because he produced the way the piano is playing, the composition of the piano. Somebody may do the drums. He produced the composition of the drums. And so they can be considered producer, but in some cases they are called like a drum programmer. They the drum program person of that particular, or they might be just work for hire in that particular situation. And so it can change. The title can change, as far as credits, but I feel they're still the same thing, a beat maker and a producer, because a beat maker is arranging the beat, when he sits down at that computer and he produces, that music. He produces the drums, how much attack does this kick have, on this song. And I believe they're considered the producer as well, because I feel like a lot of hip hop producers and rap producers, they feel like they're discredited because people saying they're just beat makers, but they're actually still arranging that sound. They're sound designing that sound sonically for their taste. And so I still feel they are producers as well of the record, because it makes me think about the collaboration between Jermaine Dupri and B. Cox. B. Cox may do the piano and all that stuff, and Jermaine Dupri, he lays down the drums, and you can tell the difference between just a B. Cox production and a B. Cox and JD production, that collab. You can tell the difference in the production. JD has that ATL Southern grab, in his production. It's very simple. Versus B. Cox, he may add more instrumentation. He may add some swells and different things in the production. And so, Jermaine Dupri is still considered the producer, because he's arranging the drums. He's arranging the whole synopsis of the song, the whole picture of the song. And that's kind of like, a movie producer. The movie producer is not acting too. He's just producing, he's telling the actor to say this line like this, or stand over here, or stand over there, or do this or do that. He's still considered the producer of the movie. And so I think we get kind of too, like I said, too far-fetched, too crazy with this, producer versus beat maker. I've been thinking about that for a long time, and I did think that way, that it's a difference. But you think about it, I think we get a little too picky about that. But the only way they might not be the same thing is, it depends on the label, how they view it, and who gets the credit and who don't get the credit as a producer. To me, I don't really want to be called a beat maker, just a beat maker. I want to be called a music producer. I know, people that make beats, I know it kind of discredit them that people call them just a beat maker, and they're more than that. They eventually want to see their name produced by so and so. And I know you producers out there want to be that too. You want to be called, you want to be called a music producer. You don't want to be called a beat maker. And so that's my thing on it. And you think about Quincy Jones and Diddy, even Hitmaker now. They didn't play all the instruments. They didn't play the drums. They didn't play the keyboard on the records. And even thinking about like Babyface and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they didn't play every single instrument on that song. They hired people. They hired other producers, but who did the record label pay? They paid Babyface. They paid Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They paid Diddy. They paid Quincy Jones as the producer of that record. And so, yeah, that's my view on it. But they can be also called a co-producer if they arrange the piano part, if they arrange the drums. They can be called a producer, but sometimes they, situations they hire certain people for that job, and so they gonna get that title. There's a lot of producers like that. Timbaland, he had so many producers that was under him, but they might not have got the credit because they paid Timbaland to produce that record. And so, yeah, that's my view on this conversation. I feel we get too overboard, thinking about this thing, producer versus beat maker. And that's just my view about it. To me, I like being a hands-on producer because I play multiple instruments, so I like being hands-on. I like to see that, I did do this, I did do that, and the work pays off, after a while. And so that's just the way I am. I like playing the keys. I like putting the drums together, on a track. But sometimes I may hire a bass player. I might get a bass player on a song because I know he can deliver that sound better than me. If I sit down and play the bass, it may not sound like a person that's really has mastered the bass guitar. So that's my view on it, and I'm sticking to it. But if you have any comments about what I said, if you disagree or you agree with me, please give me your feedback and opinion on what I said in this video. Like I said, this is a conversation that has been out for years, and I believe this started around the early 2000s. People really had that question because it was so many producers. Everybody felt like the music production world was very saturated because of these new advancements in technology, where people can just sit home and make beats and send it off and make millions of dollars. And I feel that's when the old heads and stuff like that, they felt like, oh, they not real producers because they didn't sit in the studio with the particular artist. And so you just got to realize that it's a new day and time, and so they are still considered producer, but it might not be the way you think. And so yeah, this is my view. I could go on and on this subject, but that's my brief opinion on on this conversation. Are you a producer or are you a beat maker? And so appreciate y'all for watching. If you like it, put a thumbs up. If you don't like it, you can put a thumbs down, but it's just my opinion. So appreciate y'all watching. This has been another video from your boy JG. All right, peace.